No, that's okay.
We're on the record.
I'd like to call to order the April 4th meeting. Note that started late at 5:36.
Yes, item number 1, call to order, roll call, and agenda changes. On the call of the roll, Member Eldon.
Present.
Eldon present. Member Josh Wolf, absent. Member Kopra, absent. Member Tesfa, absent. She did inform us of the absence, and she still intends to arrive, is my understanding. Member Moss.
Very present.
Moss present. Member Kanata.
Here.
Kanata present. Member Fisher.
Microphone work?
I don't think they're on. No.
You have your own control.
What?
Get out, really?
Yes.
I have my own, but now you just controlled me.
I can do. You usually have your own control.
Present.
So where's the controller?
On the screens.
Hey, Louisa.
This
Member
is very
Hinsey.
exciting. Here.
Hinsey present. Vice Chair Hyland.
Present.
Yes, I keep turning him on, but someone keeps turning him off.
Testing. Okay, thank you.
Check, test,
These new ones are.
feelings.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Hyland.
I've used the ones before.
Present.
at some point.
Hyland present. Chair Wolf absent. He has informed us that he is ill today. We have a quorum. I believe there are some agenda changes up for discussion.
Yes. Let's start with, what was it, Mark?
Mr. Bruno?
Mr. Bruno, if you'd like to approach. So go ahead and repeat what you said to us earlier, if you would.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for letting me through this. So, my name is Mark Bruno, and I'm item number on page 2, 7
7, 8, and 10. There's an accidental 9.
and 10. That's an accidental line? Okay, that's fine. 7, 8, and 10. And I've spoken with the people appearing for Christine, Bill, and Dan. Dan and Bill from the Department of Building Inspection, and Christine from Planning Department. And all of them felt that it would be okay, so I don't have any opposition. I'm not putting them out, so to speak, to ask you for a continuance on this matter, because the substantive matter at issue, the building in North Beach that the neighbors and I oppose, has gone to the Superior Court, and the judge in the matter last week ordered a second settlement conference, which is tomorrow morning at 9:30. And what I'm hoping is that if we can find a settlement, perhaps you'll never see me again, or we can't find a settlement, and I would then ask that it be continued. So it would save time for everybody, and I'm hoping that there can be a settlement. I won't know until tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we need to propose a motion for that?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to move to continue.
I'll second. And yeah.
This is
All right.
continued to the call of the chair.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
on that motion, I would like to state that I would like to request that the petitioner inform me when they are ready to withdraw or to schedule this matter for hearing, as I will not take any action until I hear from him.
Him is him, right?
Yes,
Mr. Bruno, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Please inform me of the outcome and your
I'm
desires.
sure he knows.
Okay, so just let Victor know tomorrow onwards where you stand, if you would.
By Friday morning, I'll email you.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there any public comment on that motion? Seeing no public comment, take a roll.
On the motion to continue 7, 8, and 10 to the call of chair, Member Eldon. Aye. Eldon, aye. Josh Wolf, absent. Kopra, absent. Member Tesfa.
Stay.
There's only yes or no. There's no abstains.
Yes, first want to recognize that she's here, and then
Okay, I'll pass for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Member Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. Member Fisher.
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Member Hinsey.
Aye.
Hinsey, aye. Vice Chair Hyland.
aye.
Hyland, aye. Wolf, absent. Member Tesfa.
Aye.
Tesfa, aye. The motion passes. The matter will be continued to the call of the chair.
Sorry. Gerald,
Member
remember
Ross?
testify? We only started like 30 seconds ago. Like this was just a continuing an item.
We're still not even on item 2 yet.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Yes.
Oh, no, if we're staying, you're
Thank you,
staying.
Mr. Bruno.
Maybe I suggest taking item 3 out of order and just calling that matter at this time.
You want to just do the approval of the minutes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Item number 2, approval of minutes for the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force March 7, 2018 meeting.
Motion to
edits?
approve.
Second.
Okay. Can we take that back, information?
There being no public comment, there's no public comment on that. The motion is passed with members Wolf, Copra, and Wolf being absent. The motion passes. Next on the agenda, item number 3, file number 17123, complaint filed by Anonymous against the Juvenile Probation Commission for allegedly violating Administrative Code, Section 67.21, by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner.
Okay.
Give me 1 moment. A little bit different on the timer. You will notice that you do have a timer listed on the podium, and all members can see the timer on their screens. Are you the?
Where's
Is it on?
Yes, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, well, I don't know what more you would like to hear from me. My name is Don Chan. I am the complainant on this issue. Spoke before the task force in its committee form, which passed it on to the full body. It stands at the committee level that the probation commission, Juvenile Probation Commission, is in violation of sunshine request. I made a valid sunshine request. They passed all the deadlines required to be met in fulfilling that. Their responses were non-responsive. They kept claiming simply that the document did not exist, and it should exist. That raised the bigger question beyond my request for that document. What do they do with those documents? Because they claimed that there were no documents available from the Juvenile Probation Commission from 2002 to 2000 and whenever. I know that every action, every meeting of the Juvenile Probation Commission from 1994 to 2007 was recorded and put into a record and kept until December 2007. What they did with those records, I don't know. They claim they're not in existence, then they're in violation of some kind of sunshine about maintenance of records, keeping their history in existence. So I think there needs to be further investigation into how many other violations of sunshine or Brown or public records the commission is culpable of. So that's all I have to offer. I'm willing to answer any questions you have. I still have not gotten that document, which should exist. I think it's a clear violation, and somebody should be held accountable.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody in support of the plaintiff? Seeing nobody, you can sit down.
Thank you.
The respondent, please approach.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
My name is Pauline Silver. I am the Commission Secretary for Juvenile Probation. And we met last time, and they had discussed the public records, which were non-existent. I came on in 2009, and he's asking for documents from December 2007, and they weren't there. So I apologize that they didn't have the records, but since I have come on board, I have made sure that everything's online and we have our records. So I know that we were coming here today to discuss when he sent the email for this request, and he claims that he sent it on November 3rd. I received it on November 14th, and I know the city attorney's office received it on November 7th because Shane Gilbertson called me, and that's when we started looking for these files, but we're unable to recover.
Okay. Anything else to add?
I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in support of the respondent here today? Seeing none, this is before the committee. You can.
No, you stay, because my question.
Go ahead. Member Fisher?
Your first name again was?
Pauline.
Pauline. So these records are audio recordings? That's what are.
That's the question. Mm-hmm.
So this was 2007. Are they like on little cassette tapes, or are they?
And so I received a box, but we only had documents, I believe, up until 2002. So I'm not sure if they were removed prior. I don't know. I came on and.
So is it like my old cassette tapes of like the
There were
Village
many
People where
tapes.
there's a box and they're just shoved everywhere, or are they?
Yeah,
No, I'm like, are they filed, or is it just literally a box and you have to look through them?
exactly.
Oh God! All right.
Yeah. So we searched, and the department searched.
Sorry, Ms. Silver, are you saying that you have written records up to 2002, and then between 2002 and 2007, there's these cassettes, and then 2007 onwards, there is what?
Well, the records that I received are up until 2002. So from 2002 to 2007, we do not have any records. So I'm not sure what happened to him when he was under his care. But when I came on January 2009, we're now online. So everything is put online, our audio, our agendas, our meeting minutes, supporting documents, everything.
Okay. Thank you. Member Canada?
Through the chair, what is the retention period on these records? DC Acola, is there a policy on how long these should be kept?
In my experience, most departments set their own policy for record retention, and then they set longer retention times for different types of records, depending. So I don't know.
So what is your department's policy?
So according to our city attorney who oversees the Juvenile Probation Commission, he said that it has to be at least 10 years. We discussed this at our last meeting, just for clarification purposes.
Any other discussion, members? Member Moss?
Could I speak to Mr. Chan?
He's back there.
The claim that there's no records between 2002 and 2007 implies that there were no audio recordings made. What was done from 1994 to about 1999 were audio cassettes, little cassette recordings. From 1999 onward, they went to digital recordings, okay? And those were transferred via USB to a computer into digital files. The digital files were then copied to CDs. So these things were there. Every meeting that was held, there was a recording. All the meetings were overseen by a deputy city attorney, so everything was done pro forma. I don't know what they did with those records. They were there, including the December 2007 recording, which was done off-site. It was done at the Cheryl Hill Neighborhood Center, again, overseen by a deputy city attorney. So everything was done according to law. The recording should be there somewhere, including that closed session. And that was the thing I was asking about.
Okay, and have you seen or heard other recordings at other months in 2007? I mean, is there?
Well, I haven't looked back at them. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know where they kept them, you know.
Okay, but they should be there. Okay,
They should be there.
Member Moss had a question for you.
Yeah, I'm not seeing your original request in our packet. Did you?
No?
No. Did you provide that?
It should be there. I thought I read it just today, but here's the original copy. It says, this is a formal FOIA request, and it's dated November 3rd. It's by email. All the
Yeah, it's
correspondence
possible
I
that
did
I'm
was
just
by
meaning
email.
it.
So I have a copy of that if you'd like to see that. And every subsequent, email correspondence referred back to that November 3rd initial.
Victor, can we put that on the overhead? There you go.
Am I missing it in here, or is somebody else seeing it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just touch here.
No, I mean, is somebody seeing
In the package,
the
it means.
packet, the November 3rd original public records request?
I understand that was a Friday. This was done in the morning when I
How did you
sent
get
it
to
out. So I gave them time. That's why on the 7th I
All you have to do is
emailed
touch the
again.
screen.
And I understand that the staff is only part-time, but that's the normal week of their meeting, the second Wednesday of that month. So somewhere along the line, you should have seen that email. To say that you never received it, I find that hardly suspicious.
Can you
No,
move
yeah.
the page up a little bit?
Yeah, I don't. Sorry.
So yeah, it's just so we can see the response there on Friday, October 6th.
This was something else that came back. I don't know what that.
Okay, just let us.
That wasn't responding to my email, though.
But there was some response. It looks like.
No, that's something from a previous request, or some sort of previous email.
Relevant to my request. I don't know what it was for, but it was just on when I copied the email and printed it out, that was on there.
Or did you respond to that email from?
Can you move it down a little? I want to. I just don't. I don't. I want to just make sure I'm seeing the from and to.
Well, this is net zero. That's the from,
Yeah.
that's the to, and that's the date, November the 3rd.
So it looks like you responded to her previous email of October, 6 October. It looks like you wrote a response to that.
No, I think somehow that got attached to the, I don't know how that works, email, but that was not regarding my.
Because you have the same subject
Yeah.
line in there as well. So I think you just used that. You said, "Oh, there's the email address. I'm going to respond back to her." That's how I'm seeing it. Yeah, to that one. Right, and you wrote a reply to that, and in that reply, you put your FOI request.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe that was.
So I'm going to say, like, typically, it has to be fairly clear that you're making a request. If it's an IDR, it has to be stated there.
Okay, I apologize.
So I'm not seeing those things based on this.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't even recognize that. I might have just opened up that email.
Right, okay.
And used that as an address.
Okay, so this is the first request that we're now looking at. Okay.
Okay. I think that was
Maybe that's the confusion. My fault. I am sorry.
okay. No, that was my only question because I didn't see it in the packet. I wanted to make sure we
It
were.
wasn't wrong subject line. I'm sorry.
Yeah, typically we like to see the original IDR or request in our packages, but I can see why this one didn't make it in. Ms. Silva, could you approach? Yeah. So based on this November 3rd reply to a broadcast email you sent.
Yes. That's what I sent the agenda out.
Okay, so you probably never responded to this email because you didn't think you had to, based on the subject.
No, I opened everything. I never received it. Maybe he prepped it and never sent it, but
It's also possible.
I checked our spam. And it's
Okay, because it looks like it's showing a sent date and time on his end, but you're saying you never got this in your inbox. Interesting. Okay, I think even if she did get it, it would be questionable as to whether it's misformed somewhat. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. So, like, just sort of look at it, and is there anyone here who was in the complaint committee on this?
What's that?
Is anyone here from the complaint committee?
I believe Louise and
hello.
Fiona were there. I was
Yes, we
out
were
of town
there.
for work.
Was this one?
It was just the two of us.
It was January 23rd.
Yep, that was the time when
yeah.
Bruce forgot, and I was on my way home. So I had no prep time. Victor, do you have some notes from that?
Yeah.
They are provided in the minutes from that meeting.
Would you mind just giving us a summary? Yeah.
Yeah, it says that that there was a recommendation of section 6721 and 6729(7) violations. And so I was just wondering if there was more information about that, or is there something we can ask her about?
That was regarding timeliness. I believe the committee did not believe that they responded in a timely manner. And then 67.29-7 is for failing to maintain records, in that the records should exist, however, they are not available as they cannot be found.
Yeah, and the reason we came up with that is because the timeliness, was obvious, and the records are supposed to be there. They're supposed to be there. I mean, they're supposed to be there. Really early in my tenure, back in like 6 years ago, we had, I think it was the coroner or something, where they had a flood, and they still had, somebody had wanted these paper records, and they found them, but the boxes had all been destroyed and blah, 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 and there was a flood, and that was that. But the fact that you can't find them, it's a little disconcerting.
Absolutely.
And it's a violation.
And I apologize, but I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, I know.
It's before my tenure, so when I.
I know,
started
but the
in
city was
January-
incorporated in 1850-something, and, they're there,
And the
so,
department checked too, and
yeah.
everybody searched. I checked with former commissioners who were there when he was on the commission as well, and they don't have it.
Are there other records from December 2007?
No.
So there's a gap from when to when exactly?
From 2002 to 2007, the records I had are up until 2002. The box that was given to me or left by the state.
It sounds to me they may have purged it because at the 10-year So that last 5 years is gone. Kind of follows with the timeline.
And they're floating in the bay with the.
I'd
Remember
like
last-
to ask the complainant
Sure.
another question. Sorry. Are we referring to you as anonymous? I'm sorry if we have this as.
My name is Don Chan.
Oh, but it's okay.
I approach this thing as anonymous because knowing how the juvenile probation and the department works, I didn't want them to redact to my name.
Okay, but it's okay for me. All right. So is there something without asking you what your purpose is of filing the request? Is there something that you were expecting to find
Yes.
in the records
Yes.
that you might be able to find through other means?
I don't know how. They're claiming that they don't have records between 2002 and 2007, which I find really suspicious. Why those years and previous to that they have records? I was there from 1994 to 2007, and every year records were kept.
Can you give me a little information about what you were expecting to find in the documents?
I wanted to find out what was said in closed session at that meeting, because this closed session went over an hour, and
Was there a particular agenda item that you
Yes.
were aware? Can I ask what that was?
it was
Or
a personnel item.
okay.
Could
And
you? I was gonna say,
Is there a different department that might have personnel items from that at that point?
I don't know
Like-
who they, it was not my duty to,
Right.
take them. I mean, I didn't take any of those recordings. The recordings were completed, the meeting was done, while in my absence.
I think what Member Mouse is saying is presumably the work of that meeting may have ended up in that person's personnel file, possibly. So you might be able to get what you're looking for in that personnel file. Now that's a whole other story. Whether how much of that is public, what will have to be redacted, whether you can even get that, I don't know.
Well, I understand that after 10 years, or up to 10 years, that even in a closed session on a personal matter, you can listen to that. I read that somewhere, but I don't know.
Okay. Okay. We're just trying to find you different avenues to get to what you need to get to.
I didn't even think
I mean,
about
we
that aspect.
we still have to rule on the fact that these documents don't exist, and we're gonna unpack that separately. But try and think of how else you might be able to get that information. Is
I
where we're
appreciate that.
yeah.
If you have insights that I don't know, exist.
No, I mean it's hard to know based on what it is. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the disciplinary process for
Yeah.
employees in the juvenile probation department. Could I also ask the respondent another question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. So, what was the date that you actually discovered that there had been a record request filed? Like
December, I received an email on 14th.
of November?
Correct. And
Okay.
then I spoke to Shane Gilbertson in the city attorney's office the week before, and he called me to inquire about the location of this team.
And then what was the first date that you had? So if November 14th is the day that you learned of the request, what was the date that you actually sent a communication to the complainant?
Immediately.
On November 14th.
I have a copy of the email as well, if you'd like to see it.
No, I'm sure it's in the packet. I just want to make sure I clarify that I know that there wasn't something that wasn't in the packet. And then what was the final date that you had determined that there were no possible records?
We had continued looking, and I was working with Shane to let him know in the city attorney's office. And once I searched the office and talked to the department and determined they didn't have it, then I let Shane Gilbertson know of that, of our findings.
So do you know what date that you? I am sure I can find it in the packet. I was just curious if you knew offhand.
Immediately.
Okay.
We searched immediately.
And then what happened? Like, what did you do to check to see whether it had gotten caught up in spam or anything like that? Like, what process did you go through?
So I searched the box that was given to me, and then I contacted former commissioners that were on at the time when he was there to see if they had the information, and they did not. And then, of course, we contacted the department.
Sorry, I mean the lack of a request. So the complainant says that he sent one on November 3rd, and did you
Never received it.
Okay, what did you check to make sure
I
that?
check my spam. Everything that he sends me, I create a directory. This isn't the first time he sent me
Okay.
emails. So
And then did you check with the IT department to see if there's something that could have happened?
I did not.
Okay. Okay, that was all my questions. I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Ms. Silva, I had a quick question. Sorry. I heard you say you got a box where you looked through the tapes to find if you had that tape of that date.
Correct.
What other tapes were in there? Of what dates?
So I believe it went back, it went up until 2002, and I I think it started from the 90s, so 98, something like that. I can double check.
Okay. Because, in 2002, as Mr. Chan said, it went digital. So you would be looking on a server, not in a box for that record, correct?
But it was a closed session that he's inquiring about, so that's not posted. But maybe HR has it. I don't know. We searched and.
Okay. And is HR someone that
Well, I would imagine because it was a personnel issue. I did not hear this tape because it's not
okay.
around. But perhaps.
And did you tell the requester to go to HR to ask them?
I did not.
Okay, that is under sunshine law. That's required as well to try and help them find it if you don't have it.
Okay. I did notify our city attorney just so we could get guidance as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just note that the requester made this request in November of 2017 within the 10-year limit of this so-called, record. So even if there was a 10-year policy, he's within that. So there's definitely some violations lining up here in my mind. Would anyone like to make a motion or discuss further? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So we're going to do rebuttals. So you have 3 minutes to add anything else, summarize the case. And Ms. Silva, you'll go first.
I really don't have much to add other than what I've expressed here. If there's anything we could do to assist him, directing him to personnel, to HR, we didn't try that. But I did check with the city attorney, so I could check with him again to see if there's possibly another avenue we can explore. But it seems like we exhausted everything.
Okay.
We cannot find him.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Chen?
Not really a rebuttal. This is not an indictment of the secretary, the present secretary. This is an indictment of the Juvenile Probation Commission's irresponsibility in maintaining public records. I think that's clear, and I'd appreciate any insights again that you can give me on how to maybe find the document I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Members? Member Canada?
I mean, they definitely should be cited for not maintaining records. I mean, they're missing at least 5 years of records that they should have, so. So that's a viable, what's that, that's 67?
67.29-7 for failing to maintain and preserve records in a professional and business-like manner.
So that definitely. The timing issues, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's some questions on the timing issue. It seems like Ms. Silverate, once she was aware of it, did help as much as she could, although, forwarding him to HR might have been a useful step as well, at that point. Do you want to add that violation?
No, I'm fine with it. Like, there's somebody else if they want to add it on.
Okay. So it looks like I have a motion for 67.
0.29-7 for failing to maintain records.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay. Take public comment on the motion. Seeing no public comment.
On the motion, Member Eldon. Aye. Eldon, aye. Josh Wolf, absent. Copra, absent. Member Tesfa.
Aye.
Tesfa, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Member Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. Member Fisher.
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Member Hinsey.
Aye.
Hinsey, aye. Vice Chair Hyland.
Aye.
Hyland, aye. Chair Wolf, absent. The motion passes.
And do we want to send that to...
If you do, I would like to request a specific direction to the department. However, just so you know, I don't believe that HR would have this type of closed session recording, as that is usually maintained by the city attorney. The departments tend not to keep closed session as closed sessions are usually maintained by the city attorney's office, and They've
Okay.
already responded that they do not have it.
Okay. And DC Icola, what avenue would this gentleman have by appealing to the city attorney to ask for these personnel files? Like, can you give him some guidance? Yeah.
I'm just talking about the closed session audio recording. In
Okay.
terms of personnel files,
Well, that might be a second thing he could do to see if that information from that session hit that personnel file that he's interested in. Maybe trying to.
I'm not sure who would maintain personnel files on behalf of the juvenile probation, but they can always make that request.
Okay.
It's his own. It's his own file, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, do we want to send this to any committee to? I mean, I'm still concerned about that 5-year gap. Is that something? I mean, they've said they've got everything online now, but what happens when someone else requests something in that period?
Well, I mean, what can we do? We can't send it to compliance because they can't comply. We send it to education. We just go, don't do that again. I mean,
Right.
rules. You violated the rule. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'd actually like to have some communication with their technical department just to get some sort of explanation as to why it's gone. I'm not sensing a desire of any committee chairs here to take this on, so okay, we'll leave that one as is.
Once the order of determination is written, it will be provided to all parties. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is item number 4, file number 17094, complaint filed by Michael Trellis against President London Breed, Board of Supervisors for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.25 by failing to respond to a media disclosure request in a timely and/or complete manner. This matter was referred to committee in an attempt to have President Breed testify at the meeting, or a representative from her office. They did fail to appear, and I believe that the committee has recommended that this matter be referred with a recommendation to the district attorney that the district attorney be notified of the failure of President London Breed Board of Supervisors to comply with the public records request for with the public's request for public records and failure to send representatives to Sunshine Ordinance Task Force hearings to provide explanation of the basis for her decision to withhold requested records.
Yeah, so,
Before we get started, if we can just hold on. Before we get started, if we can just note that the complainant was here earlier, but is no longer here, and is happy to have this item heard. And is there any respondents from President Breed's office here? Seeing none, enter that for the record.
so real quick, and then,
And then, Chair Kanata, if you could.
yeah, so
give us a
this
summary.
came to compliance and amendment after violations were found, and it came to compliance and amendments to try to get Mr. Petrellis the information he requested. That is public information. Supervisor Breed did not send anybody, and we felt this was at least 4 times on this case that they did not show, did not give any reason for not attending, and gave no reason for withholding the information. In our meeting, we determined on 6721E, it specifically says if the custodian refuses or fails to comply with any such order within 5 days, the Sunshine Task Force shall notify the district attorney or the attorney general. Not could or should, but shall notify the district attorney. And Member Moss, you can continue because you're the one who.
It's in the notes.
Yeah.
6721E.
Yeah, so 6721E describes the process. We were discussing how to do with this. And so basically we have 2 options in this regard. We can do the district attorney or the attorney general. And made the motion for the district attorney because I felt that, first of all, the district attorney is more familiar with the Sunshine Ordinance than the attorney general. And also I felt like it's better to keep this in the city than to start going outside of the city. I mean, people can disagree or not, but we really don't have many options. Chair Wolf had suggested that we can go to the Ethics Commission for things, but that was something that was rejected at the previous hearing as an option. And so now we're back to the ordinance, which says exactly what we shall do.
And just for clarity, we also, when we discussed this, Member Moss brought up besides these 4 issues, just for 4 times on this one case, at least 4 other times in the past when Supervisor Breed had nobody attend any of her hearings at Sunshine.
Or provide responses to public records. If we need more discussion, we can discuss more, but I'm ready to make a motion to approve.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
My questions are to Nick. I mean, have we ever done this before? Or in all of your research and studies, I know you've only been with us for like 2 years and I've been here 6, but has this ever happened? Or do you have any other comments?
What has whatever happened?
This referring to the district attorney. I mean, what have we done when people didn't show up?
I can't recall someone no-showing in recent memory.
I can help you out. Typically, we've gone the 6734 route and send that to ethics. But we have, under the code, we have this option also. Member Mas?
Oh, yeah. So to be clear, I mean, it's not necessarily about the not showing up, which is a problem in itself that should be addressed. But we're talking about the issue of the person not getting the records that we have determined to be public records. And I don't think at any of the time that I've been on compliance and amendments, we've had a case where this task force has decided a record is public and then it come to compliance and amendments and it not be resolved there. So we wouldn't be here today discussing this if after our last ruling, those records have been provided. Now, what we have here is not just one case, but 2 cases that have happened so far with the same document being not provided to requesters. And so this is not like the district attorney gets to make whatever decision they're going to make, whether they're going to pursue it or not. It's just that the ordinance says that we're supposed to do that. And nothing may come of it, like it's out of our hands at that point.
And Victor, I think in the compliance meeting, we asked you to list all the other the other cases.
If you look into
Where is that?
into my the minutes of the meeting, I did include it into the minutes.
But we wanted it to be included in the, is it in the actual package, though? Right there. Okay, great. And is that in our package or not? Because that is
The actual complaint files of the other items are not there, but
because that's an important part. Because
I have listed them as non-appearance.
Okay.
But there's, in terms of including it in a packet to send to the district attorney, there's really not much I can send.
My motion to send it here, my recommendation was not that we would be referring these extra 4 cases,
right,
but that they would be included as contextual background for where we are in this case.
Exactly.
And that we're not asking them to go back and look at something from like 2015 and, do an investigation, but just so that they know when they're going to that this is a pattern of practice rather than a isolated case.
Right. And just to summarize, Member Fisher, that compliance and amendments meeting was really the last chance for President Breed or any member of her staff to show up and
well,
give
this is the last chance. Like
this is not last chance, and that's why. So all those other file numbers, Petrellas Hearts, Petrellas Wolf, Graben, that is, as Member Moss said, leading to a pattern of non-compliance and non-answering.
So my question then to, I guess, whomever was on whichever committee, a determination was made that a Twitter block is a public record?
No, the block list, you were here and you voted for this as well, that this was a that.
Yeah, I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday either, so remind me.
So we had had 2 votes at the last meeting. Mm-hmm. One was that this is a public record and that,
I'm looking at, we had the votes for whether to send it to ethics and that failed.
That was the second one. That was the second vote.
The first vote was
a
willful
violation for withholding public records.
Okay, I thought it was just the not to show up.
No.
Then I'm reading it wrong. Okay.
I mean, that is not how I understood it.
I mean, ultimately,
I understood that there was definitely violation for not providing public records and that conducting government business on social media is the public is allowed to ask for that because that's government business. So it's a public record.
Okay, I read
Wait.
both those motions. Now, let me find it. Come on. All right, so we determined, even though I can't find it right now, we determined
On
that
page
was...
53 in the order of determination,
Ew.
it states that there was a violation of 67.21E and 67.25 by failing to
Okay.
send an authorized representative and failing to respond to an immediate disclosure request.
Okay, so the 25 is, yes, it's a record.
Yes.
I voted for it then. Okay.
Member testify.
And I would just like to say I do have some concerns with this. This is new ground for us with dealing with Twitter, but my larger concern is that there may be persuasive arguments as to why this isn't a record. There might be other persuasive arguments about why this might not have been conducting public business on, private platforms, but no one has ever showed up to tell us otherwise, and we really need to be, basing our findings and our orders on what's in the record, and the President Breed's office has failed to provide that, substantial evidence for us to weigh to make, any further of a decision. So.
And Chris, can I add one more thing?
Yes,
So,
Madam Fisher.
I'm looking at this OD right here, and it says I voted on 21E and 25, but I'm going to kind of go along with what Member Tesfaye said. I'm not 100% convinced that this might be a public record, and it does feel like it's new ground.
But
I'm
I'm
just
saying,
not
what I was
sure.
saying was that no one has come forward to tell us otherwise.
And that no one has come forward and told us otherwise.
I just
Member
don't know
Moss.
what else we can possibly do at this point other than just say that we're a toothless body that can't, get a elected official to respond to a public records request.
I mean, I
Like-
wasn't saying that I was voting against any kind of
yeah.
emotion. I just think that, we need to get the city officials to show up and tell us otherwise or give us some type of legal persuasive argument as to why they don't need to be turning over this information. And until that happens, I feel like our hands are tied and we have to make this referral.
Chris, I have one more question.
Member Fisher.
Have you gotten any response from
None.
the supervisor's office, from her aides that
No.
say we're coming, we're not coming, or they just...
I have not received any response. And just in terms of history, not that we've ever actually referred one to the district attorney before, but I did find a template in my files for referring files to the district attorney. So we must have done it at some time in the past.
Okay, that's good to know.
Let me back up to my question again. When somebody doesn't show up multiple times in a row, do you, in your role as commission secretary, contact their office and say, hey, you're supposed to come to this?
I have sent them several reminders and indicated that they need to show up.
Just
I
to,
did it via email, and I'm sure they're getting the emails.
just to refresh the task force, we did have a similar incident 2 years ago, right when Bruce Wolf came on board, and it was something that had been ongoing for some time with Supervisor Marr, I believe, and we ended up sending that as a 6734 to the Ethics Commission. And that was, again, for not showing up, not sending a representative, et cetera, not dissimilar to this. So we have done that before. But I think, to Member Moss's point, the fact that it's in the charter specifically, shall send to district attorney, or I think gives us pretty clear direction on this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's got 3 people on her staff, one of whom...
And the staff members themselves were copied on the notice of hearings and all other notices.
And,
One-
and,
one of
and
whom
not
is a
not to
lawyer.
get
She
in,
knows
not
what
to
she's
dissect the Twitter piece of this, but there's 5 other files here, and not all of those are Twitter items as well. Those are other recognized formats that are public documents that, again, there's been no response. No
I mean, I'm
explanation.
looking at the notification, and I do see that Victor had made her office aware that we were going to have a hearing on this today, and that this is what we were going to be discussing. And I would certainly I would feel a lot better if we were having a discussion and we were being given arguments for why we shouldn't do this. And I don't do this suggest this lightly. I don't want to have to do this. But there's no one in the room telling me that we shouldn't be doing it.
Right. Should we take some public comment?
Would you like to make the motion first?
Okay. So let's go ahead and entertain a motion, if there is one.
I will move to refer this item to the district attorney pursuant to 6721E of the Sunshine Ordinance and include in the referral references to prior cases to provide context for this.
I second that.
In conjunction with that, I will draft a letter. Who would you like to review and do final approval?
We would have to vote on this first, of course.
So what happens with this? We refer this to the DA, and is it like a misdemeanor or something?
It's up to the district attorney to decide what to do.
They have different measures they can act on it, get the information. It can be monetary, it can be disciplinary.
I don't even think it would go to that. I think that what we saw with the district attorney recently with the ethics commission, when we had not reached a conclusion where we did not have the votes to to find the ethics commission in violation, but the district attorney in their own regard did their own investigation and then wrote a equivalent of a cease and desist letter. So theoretically, what is likely to happen in my non-psychic powers view is that if the district attorney does take this up, they would send a letter to President Breed's office saying it's your obligation to provide these records. Hopefully, while maybe people ignore us, they don't ignore the district attorney's office, and the records are provided, and then everything is sorted out.
Yep.
That would be the ideal situation here.
Yeah.
You are correct. We should probably take the vote on the motion first before we do anything
Public
else.
comment too, though.
Right. So public comment on that motion. Seeing no public comment.
On the motion, Member Eldon. Eldon, aye. Josh Wolf, absent. Copra, absent. Member Tesfa.
Aye.
Tesfa, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Member Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. Member Fisher.
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Member Hinsey.
Aye.
Hinsey, aye. Vice Chair Hyland.
Aye.
Hyland, aye. Chair Wolf, absent. The motion passes.
And to answer your second question, I guess Chair Wolf should probably review the letter.
Yes. So I would assume that you're authorizing Chair Wolf to send the letter to the district attorney.
I think by
Can we do? Oh,
acclamation.
yeah, by acclamation. Okay.
we are.
And just let's make sure that Mr. Petralis gets this order of
It's a copy, yeah.
determination
Yes.
Yeah.
and hopefully his information.
Next on the agenda, item number 5, file number 18006, complaint filed by John Votruba against Director Tom Hugh, Department of Building Inspection, for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.21 by failing to respond to a public works request in a timely and complete manner. This matter was heard by the Compliance Amendments Committee on March 20th.
Yeah, so we heard this, and we sent it up here. Basically, the issue here seems to be, and keep me honest, that Mr. Votruba asked for information. DBI said he can come and look at the information in the office, but cannot make copies of it without the approval of the property owner, citing a DBI code 19851. And we wanted DCA COLA some input on how that applies to Sunshine. Because it seems like if he's allowed to go look at the records, they are public records. So we need to know how to go with this.
I think we asked DCA COLA to chime in on this as well. Perhaps you'd like to give us your background. I'm looking in the memo here.
What page is in the packet is in there? The memo for this one? I believe I included the language of the statute that they cited.
Page 77.
Yeah.
Page 77.
And you're quoting it on page 79, I believe you just,
Section 19850. So at the committee, it kind of came down to, does that trump the Sunshine Law? Does the Sunshine Law trump that? We were looking for
I mean,
some
health and
direction.
safety code is a state level legislation, and Sunshine is a local ordinance. So more often than not, especially when specifically stated in this health and safety code section that it isn't for release but for viewing only, I think that takes precedent. When you take into account exemptions, specifically under the CPRA, under 6254, and in the Sunshine Ordinance, they allow for exemptions where specifically stated by other law. And I think that applies in this case. So if the Health and Safety Code says that it's available for viewing but not to be distributed, I think that takes precedent in this case.
Okay. All right. And we found jurisdiction on this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Should we hear from the parties?
Mr. Vitruva?
Hello, everyone. I wanted to just address Mr. Kanata's request. Although my primary focus is to obtain the building plans, the approved building plans from the building department, I also went to the planning department to get their file with respect to the building plans. And Mr. Kanata had asked if I could return there to see if I could find them again. He thought their tracking system was such that it had been improved and that I could be able to find it. I did that the next day, same result. They identified the file. They said, oh, and 2 days later they came back and said the staff says they can't find it, and that's disappeared. So the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have a public document that can't be obtained in a normal process which is extremely important for purposes of transparency and openness, to understand when you're appearing before a public body all of the facts of a particular case. I am currently trying to rebuild a firewall that was destroyed by our neighbor. That I have gone through the building department and the various steps to reach the planning department. The planning department has issued a certificate of appropriateness, and we are now, and this has been appealed by the neighbor, the firewall. And it has a lot to do with the fact that there were windows which are specified in the plans, marked out, and cannot be installed, yet they were installed anyway. And they were installed in violation of one of the fire code provisions, which says that spacing requirements are such that you cannot have these windows within a certain footage percentage, a certain foot. And so I need those plans to support my position. And when I can't, and also for the public hearing bodies to be able to understand what's out there. And so they can see what's in that position. If I can't do that, I'm unable to be successful in that situation. Obviously, the owner, who is an advocate of the plans and the building, is in an adversarial position with me. And there was no way that they would consent to provide the plans. So I'm left with no option to get you, and these plans remain buried. And with respect to that statute, if you're talking about the architect, this says my request has absolutely nothing to do with any copyright infringement whatsoever. We're outside, and what I'm concerned about is the building department using this statute is hiding behind it and not presenting or making available plans to be heard and seen. So that's my concern. So if there's any questions about what I'm doing, I'd appreciate hearing from you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in support of the plaintiff? Seeing nobody. Respondents? DCI Cola, did you want to say something before?
No, that's fine. We can discuss it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
William Strawn, I'm the manager for Legislative and Public Affairs for the Department of Building Inspection. And as I believe I presented to the committee a few weeks ago, DBI follows state law with respect to copyrighted plans. Mr. Botruba is not an exception. We do this for everybody. Our records department, I know, has explained this process for filing the documents that we keep at the department in order for him to make the request from the architect of record for permission. But as we understand the state ordinance for the Health and Safety Code, this 19851, DBI does not have any ability to reproduce those plans for him. We certainly have made them available for viewing. Our records show Mr. Petruba was last in to view the plans for that particular address in October of 2014. We have not had any recent request from Mr. Petruba in writing by email in any form other than this one, where he continues to ask for the reproduction of these plans, and we continue to say we are not at liberty to provide those.
Thank you. And did your compatriot have anything to add?
Deputy Director Dan Lowry, he runs the permit services, which is that part of DBI that in fact is responsible for plans.
Okay. We might call upon you later. Yes, DCA Cole?
Mr. Vitruba, you said
If
you mentioned
approach.
during your first portion of speaking that you were requesting these plans because they destroyed a firewall and rebuilt it, and it's no longer, from what I am understanding, compliant with the fire code.
That's one of the reasons.
Did you refer this to the fire department for an inspection?
I have. The fire department didn't inspect it for 2 years after they were given a legalizing permit.
So
The fire department has approved my application.
they approve your application.
Yeah. And
Did they cite them for a fire code violation for a non-compliant firewall?
they said that they should have been inspected,
Um,
and it wasn't.
well, in order for them to follow up on the inspection, the fire department might need access to these plans, right?
That'd be fine.
Aha.
Let me mention one other thing. When I went to the records department, I have spent a lot of time going through the microfilm, and I've seen a number of issues that I need to bring out. But what the records department told me to do was go to the building department, the DBI, Department of Building Inspection, because they have the right to get those plans. Yeah.
Sure.
Speak into the microphone.
They have the right to get the plans, and the plans were in their hands and inspected. So what I had was a comment from DBI saying that if there were, I'm sure that if any plans with any of us at DBI, we would be happy to share them with you in order to move the permit application forward. This wasn't a denial because they said I didn't have the owner's permission, or a denial because I didn't have the architect's permission. This was simply saying, we have somebody up there has the plans, all we have to do is find it, and we'll share them with you.
Okay. Mr. Strawn? If a fire official requested copies of his plans to follow up on whether or not something complied with the fire code, would DBI have the authority to give it to him in that case?
I don't know. I guess I would have to consult with our deputy city attorney about that. I do believe between city agencies, plans often are provided upon request. The issue here, as I understand it, is not whether or not Mr. Vitruba can see the plans. As I said, he's been in to view these plans, at least according to our records, as recently as October 2014. Mr. Vitruba would like those plans duplicated so he could have a copy. That's where, as I understand it, the state health and safety code says we may not duplicate those without this process being followed of appealing to both the property owner and the copyrighted architect of record.
Member Moss?
Yeah, so I'm reading the health and safety code that's relevant to this, and it says in that first paragraph of A, it says the copy may not be duplicated in whole or in part except, and then it says number 2, by order of a proper court or upon the request of any state agency. And what I'm wondering from DCA COLA is if this version of state agency actually applies to the task force, in the sense that if we ask for this or we determined that they should provide the records, whether that would trigger the process to allow it to be released.
No.
We're a city agency, aren't we?
Oftentimes, a state agency just refers to a state as a government.
We're a city commission, and I don't
Okay.
think we have subpoena power in that case.
And then, okay, that the section B says any building department or a city county which is requested to duplicate the copy shall go and do a bunch of things. Did you do a bunch of those things once the request happened? Like, let's see, it's like you'll request written permission from the original or current owner. If it's part of common interest, you'll do et cetera, et cetera.
Right, we have a formal process that our records department provides to anybody wanting to actually receive a duplicate set of plans. And it usually takes a 30-day period. The requester fills out those documents. They're sent to the architect of record. If there's no response within the 30 days, at that point the department is able to release a copy of the records if we don't have a response.
What happened in this
As
case?
I understand it, though, this requires both the owner's permission and that architect of record's permission. I don't believe it's one or the other, but I'll defer to the city attorney on that.
But I mean, in this process, did you reach out? Is that how it works? You reach out to
No,
both?
we don't.
Okay.
The question is did Mr. Latruba reach out? And as to my knowledge, he has not. But I don't know that for a fact.
But it says any building department of a city or county which is requested to duplicate the official copy of the plans maintained by the building department shall request written permission to do so. And so that's why I'm wondering if I'm misreading this.
Made to the requester, and the requester actually makes the request to the architect of record.
But it says shall request written permission to do so from the certified licensed or registered professional or his successor. Am I misreading this, or is it? I mean, is there something I'm missing? I'm just sorry. I'm just reading the notes in DCA Cola's memo.
But if I understand what you're saying that the Department of Building Inspection would actually make the request of the architect of record.
I mean,
that is not how we've interpreted
right.
that.
I mean, I'm just reading what it says, and that's what it seems to say to me, unless I'm missing a step.
Well, all I can say is I've been doing this for 12 years, and the Records Department has been dealing with these plan requests for certainly a long period of time before I came here, and I've never heard that interpretation.
I'm not interpreting. I'm just reading it out loud. The other question I have is, what happens if somebody comes into the office, you're showing them the record, and they attempt to make a copy themselves?
We forbid them from doing that. So there's no photograph. Usually there's a staff person with them to ensure that they're not doing that. They may take notes, but no duplication of the plans is permitted.
What's the difference between taking notes and taking a photo?
I guess writing down your version of what you're seeing as opposed to taking an image of a copyrighted document.
And what kind of accommodations do you make for somebody who is visually disabled?
I don't know. I'd have to defer to my records department for that. I assume that there is a way of assisting someone with that particular situation.
Like, I mean, is there a system in your office for allowing for like magnification of?
Yeah, I would assume so. I can't say that I know that firsthand, but I would assume so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members? A quick question for DC Acola. Understanding somewhat of what he's trying to do, it sounds to me like if he just proceeds down the path of where he's trying to go to, that the other city agencies, the fire department and whatnot, will have to get those records to be able to do their piece.
Investigate the complaint.
Right.
Yeah.
So that seems your best recourse. I think we touched on that a little bit in committee. Member Kanata?
Yeah, I had suggested in committee that he reach out to the planning department, because I'm thinking if planning has records, I know on the numerous planning issues I worked on, the planning department, you would go there and they would provide all their files for you, and the files had the architect's drawings and all of that. So that's why I asked him to do that, and he said planning doesn't have them. So maybe the fire department is the way to go.
Okay. Do we have any rebuttals? Complainant, or rather, respondent goes first. Any rebuttals? Nope. Seeing no rebuttals. Complainant, Mr. Wetruba.
I wanted to clarify something. The reason I'm looking for the plans is that, yes, let's say the Historical Preservation Commission is an agency that could request these plans, but as a practical matter, they don't. What they do is they rely on people that bring in information, such as the chief building inspector from the Department of. And if the chief building inspector comes in there and says, well, these plans have been approved in 1987, and here's a certificate and everything's fine. So how do you refute that? You can only refute that with a proof of facts, such as my ability to show that the plans show something else, that things aren't fine, that things haven't been followed, the law hasn't been followed, their own rules haven't been followed, and the fire code hasn't been followed. And what I want to be able to do is take that copy and present that to the board. It would make everything more available for all parties, and certainly in terms of openness, that would be the way to go. Thank you.
Agreed. DC Acola?
Just to make a suggestion, I think the fire department will have access to these. They probably couldn't turn them over to you. But if you make a complaint to the fire department regarding the non-compliant firewall, in order for them to confirm that, they will have to review those records. And then when they write up the notice of violation confirming that, you could use that notice of violation that confirms that it's a non-compliant firewall and bring that to the Historic Preservation Commission.
That's a good suggestion, but the problem is the fire department is sort of pressured into doing what they do from the building department. In fact, the guy that I spoke with, who was a lieutenant of the fire department, is no longer in his job. He was the one that told me that, yes, it needed to be inspected. So what they did was send out another inspector 2 years later who okayed everything. And so what do you do? You can't.
You appeal.
You appeal, that's right. You appeal. But I can't appeal without facts. I've got to have the plans. And that's what, I don't want the entire set of 26 pages. I want one page with one section that shows these plans show that such and such a permit can't be done over the property line. Construction can't be over, and they're constructing over my property. I don't mind these people building decks on their roof, but not on my property. And that's what's happening, and I can't show that without the plans. And so that's why I need it.
Okay.
I was in
Member Fisher?
I was in a similar situation, and I was dealing with the same problem, and it was several of us, and the people built the deck, and it wasn't until after they built the deck that inspection came over and said, "Oh, you're going over," and they had to remove the deck. It was immensely painful. It's stupidity. Well, it's inefficient and stupid, but.
DC Acola, did you have something else to add?
You should make a sunshine request to the fire department for all documents supporting their decision to okay what they did when they investigated under your first complaint, and then reopen the complaint, ask them to redo it. Or you got another route. You could just sue your neighbor, and then you could get them through the provision where you could get it via court order when you seek it in discovery.
I think that's possibly a good suggestion, but it's, I'm trying to deal with finding the best place for me is to get those sections of the plan and be able to support my position and present them to the board so that I will be appearing before.
Which board are you referring to?
Historic Planning Preservation Commission.
Okay.
These guys are a bunch of architects, and they're not going to be able. They certainly know how to read building plans, and they know why I am interested in rebuilding a firewall, and so I can show them exactly why those original plans.
One of the things we talked about, not to cut you off, is in the last committee is why not just reference that plan with the numbers, whatever you saw in the microfiche, so that when you go in front of the board, their clerk should
It's a nice idea.
provide that.
It's a nice idea when I'm faced with the chief building inspector here on the left, and I have said, well, I've seen things in the microfiche that refute it. They're not going to believe me. They're going to believe the chief building inspector, and that's why I will lose in that situation. I will only win if I can support my arguments with proof of facts. And proof of facts are the plans themselves.
I think something else you could do is you could take in an architect or someone that has a license to go with you, and they can read.
We're
they
going
can,
out of jurisdiction here.
Hold on a
guys.
second. They could look at that thing, and they could be part of your party when you go before the board. I'm just trying to think outside the box here, but
No, that's fine. Actually, that's what happened originally when I first built the firewall. I had a firewall there in 2002. It was built.
yeah.
And Lowry was the guy that inspected and found the whole thing available to me. And I had an architect that I went down to the building department, and we got just those, and that's why he was able to prepare plans for me to put in this firewall, which was then buttressed by the planning department and the building department. But now I'm at a different stage. I'm at a stage where I need to get back into the original plans once more. I can't do it here. I don't think I can get an architect. I still would be facing the statute if I brought an architect in there to do this, because the statute is saying, got to have permission from the owner,
Right.
permission from the original architect.
I'm just saying they could testify with you and say, as a professional architect, this is how I interpret these drawings. That being said, I mean, we're trying to help you out here, but I think you probably realize that, that state law trumps the city charter that we operate under, so.
I understand. So what I'd appreciate is if I could get something in writing from you about your decision, one way or another about it, so I can go from there.
I'm not sure we're going to have that because we're going to.
Yes, we still issue order of termination even if we find no violation.
Okay, so do we have a motion then to find no violation? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what we would need, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
I wouldn't like to, but it seems like the only thing we can do is find no violation, because it seems like DBI is functioning according to the laws that pertain to it.
Okay. Do we have a
Is there
second
a
for that?
second?
Yeah.
Second, Member Hinsey. Any public comment? Seeing no other members of the public here, no public comment on the motion.
On the motion, Member Eldon. Eldon, aye. Josh Wolf, absent. Copra, absent. Member Tesfa.
Aye.
Tesfa, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Member Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. Member Fisher.
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Member Hinsey.
Aye.
Hinsey, aye. Vice Chair Hyland.
Aye.
Hyland, aye. Chair Wolf, absent. The motion passes. A copy of the order of determination will be issued to all parties once it's issued. That is pending the approval of that order by the chair and vice chair. Next on the agenda is item 6, public comment. Members of the public may address the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force on matters that are within the committee task force's jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda.
There is no public.
There being no members of the public in the room, items number 7, 8, and 10 have been continued. Item number 11, annual report.
Motion to continue that.
Second.
Can we take that
There
back?
being no members of the public, would you like to take that vote by acclamation?
I think so, yep.
That motion passes with all members voting aye. Next on the agenda, item number 12, report from the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force committees.
Any committees?
Just real quickly, at
Member
compliance and amendments, we had the person who's charged with getting down to one URL for the city of San Francisco, for sfgov.org. And it was a really interesting presentation. They would like to work with the task force to make sure that what they're doing makes it easy to comply with the ordinance. And we suggested waiting until all the new appointments are done and our ad hoc tech subcommittee can get involved.
Right, so that's San Francisco Digital, and he's referring to Carrie Bishop, who is leading that direction. Any other chair reports?
No, not from complaint committee.
Okay,
Not for rules either. Yeah.
all right.
There being no members of the public in the room, moving on to the next item, Sunshine Ordinance Task Force Chair's report. The chair is not present at this time, so I do not believe any action is needed on this matter.
Motion to continue that, or just
Second.
take that by acclamation?
Next on the agenda is the administrator's report. I do list the next set of meetings. I just would like to confirm, since we do have some, the Education Outreach and Training Committee meeting is on April 17th at 3:30 p.m. The members are Josh Wolf, Eric Eldon, and Louise Fisher. I was wondering if Member Eldon or Member Fisher have any issues with that date.
What was the date again? Sorry.
April 17th at 3:30. Thank you. Well, Member Fisher, if you cannot make it, please let me know as soon as possible.
April 17th?
Yes. That's a 3:30 start. Just let me know when you can.
I know right now that I cannot.
Cannot. Are there any members who would be able to fill in for that EOTC meeting?
April 17th, right?
Yes. That would be Josh Wolf, Member Eldon, and Member Fisher. Mhm.
3:30,
Yes.
which probably goes till 5:30-ish.
It's a relatively short agenda. Most likely it'll end by 5 o'clock, but can't guarantee that.
Could I leave at 4:30? No, I mean, if I don't show at all, then I
You
don't
have
show at all.
you have quorum with 2 people, so you could leave. Yeah.
Yes, I will just confirm with Member Wolf to be sure he will be there, and then I will make arrangements, and if not, I'll make sure it's a short meeting. I'll get you out of here by 4:30 if need be.
I have a 5 o'clock appointment, like,
Across the street?
no, I wish, up in Cow Hollow, so I'll have.
Would 4:30 be acceptable to you, if we can get? Yes, okay. I will be sure that we accommodate your needs.
Okay.
We've had quite a few complaints filed this month. Looks like approximately 9 to 10. We have had a large influx of complaints recently, in that our previous month's total was 40, and this month we had 51. So we had an increase of 10 pending complaints. We have the Russian Hill Associates versus Planning Department. That matter is going before CAC on May the 15th for review.
That's compliance and amendments or complaints?
I believe this was heard, 17104 was heard by the task force already. They issued an order of determination and referred it to both the EOTC and CAC for various reasons. And I believe that will be heard in the next Compliance Amendments Committee meeting. And then I'd just like to point out that we received several communications this month. One from the Ethics Commission, information regarding no file, no vote, but we do not have that problem. Basically, it stated that if you don't file your Form 700 or your declarations, you are not allowed to vote at the meeting. Next, we received a letter
But
from
everyone has filed it, is what you're saying?
everybody has filed, yes.
Yeah, fear will do that to you.
I believe we received a letter from the National Associations for the Advancement of Colored People requesting that the task force investigate the Board of Supervisors regarding in seriatim meetings. The letter is in the packet for review. If you'd like a hearing on the matter, please let me know.
Yeah, the
That
letter
is-
says it was with the district attorney.
It was filed, it requested 3 different parties to investigate the Board of Supervisors. The District Attorney, the Ethics Commission, and the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force.
How do we do that without a complaint
I am
being
just
filed?
providing the letter. It's up to you if you want to proceed with that. It did not state that he wanted to file a complaint. He just requested us to investigate.
But
I mean, that sounds like a complaint to me.
well, but the only place we can investigate is at a complaint hearing, right? Well, we don't have investigators.
Can you have Victor send him an email that says
Yeah, Victor,
he
I
has
was
to
going
file
to
a
say,
complaint?
if you could just kind of outline how the process works and invite him to.
I will inquire as to whether or not he would like to official complaint file and attend the meeting.
He's probably going to have the same issues with the other 2 parties too, I'm guessing, but
Yes, it was a general letter. It was actually a very
general
wide
reaching.
addressed to various politicians in the city and county.
Okay.
And so I believe it was a shock letter in a way.
Okay.
But I will inquire if he wants to proceed with the actual complaint and attend the meeting.
All right. Thank you.
And the last one is just general communications regarding someone's issue with safety cameras. It's not a request for hearing, it's just bringing to the attention of.
What safety cameras?
It's in the letter, I believe. This person asked the SFMTA for copies of the video of certain cameras. It's on page 428, the last page of the packet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, these are communications which I provide to the task force as there's no official action. It's just for your information. And if you'd like to suggest any actions, please let me know. And that completes my report. Oh, in addition, I would like to state that at the last complaint committee meeting, I did present information regarding the NICS request system. And they did request that I provide a summary of that presentation to the full task force at the next meeting.
Is that still enough time? You have the
Yes,
bandwidth for that?
it's a matter of paring down my initial report had too much detailed information.
Okay.
I just need to pare it down and point out make certain points.
Okay.
Sorry.
Member Mouse.
Yeah, so I'm reading the NAACP letter, and to me, it feels very clear that this is a complaint that needs to have a file opened on it. If we can't just do that, then I would want to make a motion that we do that.
Unless he states complaint,
I mean,
don't do it.
the term is, I also urge the Ethics Commission, the Sunshine Task Force, to investigate this matter and to formally declare each of the above named supervisors guilty of official misconduct. I think the fact that they this person has filed something asking us to declare a specific item in the. I don't feel like we have I feel like this is clear enough to me a complaint. Like it's a letter addressed to us laying out allegations that asks us to make a finding. The fact that the word complaint is in there doesn't matter to me.
But there's like a form and everything that needs to be filled out, so I don't see the issue with having Victor provide them with that information and then them choosing to do so.
I mean, it's
Because then there's going to be a file that's sent to us without.
Because even if we have the complaint, they're not here to present.
no. I mean, I'm just saying that we should go through the process that we go through. And if somebody walks into Victor's office and says, "I want to open a complaint,"
But they would have to say open a complaint, not investigate.
Why don't you send them a follow-up email?
That's what
that
we,
is-
yeah.
I mean,
That is what is-
it feels like we're just suddenly playing semantics and slowing something down based on somebody using the wrong word when really.
Well, I will follow up with them and find out if they actually want to attend a complaint meeting. But if they just state investigate, that is not an action to open a complaint
Well,
file.
it's not the investigate that I'm concerned about. It is they asked us to make a finding of something. That is the operative thing that I'm looking at.
How can you make a finding if there's no complaint?
Due process. Yeah.
I'm.
Otherwise, we get all sorts of write-ins and.
I mean, it's the
I
letter's
just
pretty
need
clear.
to be sure that they're willing to appear. And just from the reading of the letter, it did not sound like they wanted to participate in the complaint hearing process. That's why I presented it to the full task force for review. And it's my understanding that I will write to this person and ask if they would like to proceed with the complaint filing and attend the meetings.
And lay out what that entails. And you have
Yes.
to be at this meeting, that meeting. There's a back and
I will
forth.
provide a copy of the complaint
Right. The
procedures.
Sunshine process is a party-driven process. We do not conduct investigations on our own. And so if for us to make any kind of finding, they would have to present us with some kind of information because they wanted to file a complaint. We can't just.
I mean, the information is in there. This is a very long letter. It's a multi-page letter with multiple citations of what the allegations are and the evidence to back it up. That's what I'm saying, is that it's not like they're just saying open investigation. The letter's long. It's chock full of evidence. That's. I mean, I don't know what
Right.
else you would expect from them.
So the act of filing a complaint is saying I am willing to be a party that is going to carry this case forward. And so that is why we just need them to file that.
I will make that request of them, and I will follow up on it.
Victor, you had mentioned earlier that we have a complaint committee meeting that's coming up. So I just wanted to know if you've heard anything about attendance on that. I'll be there.
We have all current membership. Bruce Wolf and Member Hinsey are still members. I don't believe we have any problems.
Great.
What's the date again?
That would be
April 24th.
April 24th at 5:30.
Sounds good to me.
And I wanted to announce that I will not be here for the May 2nd full task force meeting. I'm traveling for work.
Okay, thank you very much. We will be having some difficulties with quorum for the next few meetings, but until we get some new appointments, but we shouldn't have a problem.
How are things going with that process? I know that
Yeah.
I'm going to be sending you this week a letter from the League of Women Voters for my reappointment, but what is your timeline looking like?
I have not heard anything from the Rules Committee. I believe today is Member Moss's last meeting.
Okay.
I believe that Member Eldon Fisher will be serving as holdover members until we get new appointments.
Oh,
Please
good.
correct me if I'm wrong.
My wife will need to let me.
And besides that, all of the members will sit as holdovers until new appointments are made.
So for Member Eldon, is it someone needs to, is your seat one where an organization nominates someone, or? Okay, so they need to nominate some.
I mean, months ago when I told them I didn't think they would be able to
Continue.
doing it, I let them know.
Oh, okay.
So they were working on it for a couple months.
And then how about Member Fisher's seat?
I believe that's a public seat where
It's an easy one to fill.
So that's something
Members of the public may apply and fill the seats.
Thank you for explaining.
And just a reminder, I don't think it's on the Rules Committee agenda yet. May not be until June. So if everyone could expect to continue serving until that happens, and I know we're going to miss Member Maas, but hopefully the rest of us can continue to be here and get the work done.
And thanks for your service.
Bye.
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 That completes my report.
All
Make
right.
a motion to adjourn.
Any
Are there no
announcements?
announcements? There being no announcements, would someone like to make the motion to adjourn?
Second?
Yeah, second.
So adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.